Hello, Riverside. I am so disappointed that I am not able to come to your class today, but I couldn't let this opportunity slip away without giving you something. My name is Karen Cerna, and I'm the director of ACC's Student Money Management Office, and our office is here to help our students become better money managers. You know, taking the time to establish good financial habits will set you up for a future where you are in control of your money, not the other way around. And good financial habits start at budgeting. Now, I have a question for you. How many of you have a budget? There are three categories students generally fall into. We have those who don't have a budget at all, those who have a budget in their head, and those who have a budget written down. Okay, even though I'm not there in the classroom with you, I would like you to raise your hand if you don't have a budget. And hey, it's okay if you're raising your hand right now because I can't even see you. Okay, now raise your hand if you have a budget and you're carrying it around with you in your head. Great. All right, raise your hand if you have a budget and it's written down. Okay, this is what I saw. Most of you have a budget and it's in your head. Am I right? All right, now tell me if this has happened to you. You start off with Monday and you've got 20 bucks in your pocket. On Thursday, before your last class for the week, you go to the cafe or the vending machine to buy a snack. You open your wallet and all of your money is gone. You think back, where did it go? Now, there are too many transactions going on daily, monthly, for you to keep track of everything in your head. If you want to be in control of your finances, then you have to know exactly how much money you have coming in, exactly how much money you have going out, and you have to write it down. So, if there is one of you in the class who has it written down, gold star for you. That is a fantastic habit to get into. You have to write your budget down. Now, most people create monthly budgets, but you're a student and your life is broken up into semesters and not months, which makes monthly budgets not super useful. So what I'm going to show you how to do is how to create a semester-based budget that will help you look at your income and your expenses over a semester. So what you do is you go to our website, which is austincc.edu/money. And you go to the resources section of our web page and you go to the semester-based budgeting tab. I have a Google Sheets version set up for you. And in order to make it editable, you need to make a copy for yourself. Now, first what we do is we start out, and let's say we're looking at the spring 2017 semester. How many months are in the spring semester? January, February, March, April, and May. So we're going to generously say there are 5 months in the spring semester. For our example, let's use a part-time student who is also working part-time. So we first start with the monthly income. She's working part-time and she's earning $1,000. She is living by herself, doesn't have a partner, no kids, no child support. Let's then look at her semester income. So in the spring, she might receive a tax refund. Let's base her tax refund on what she received last year. Let's say last year she received $1,000 in a tax refund. Nothing much has changed with her situation, so she's hoping to get $1,000 this next tax season. She's a part-time student, so she's receiving $1,400 in the federal Pell Grant. That's money that she does not have to repay. She also applied early, so she got some money from the Texas Educational Opportunity Grant. She got $684. She also got a TPEG grant for $300. She hasn't applied for scholarships, doesn't really think it's worth her time, doesn't know about student loans yet. So that's all of her income. Now let's look at her semester expenses. So in terms of tuition and fees, she's got to pay, I don't remember what this adds up to. Let's just say $1,400 in tuition and fees for the spring semester and $300 in books. She's got about $100 in supplies she anticipates. In terms of her rent, she lives by herself. She pays $890 in rent. She spends $400 at the grocery store, $100 eating out. Car payment, $250. Car insurance, $95 a month. Gas for the car, utilities, cell phone, internet service at home, childcare, no kids, medical, she's got a $35 prescription she fills up every month. Periodic expenses, I didn't talk to you about this yet. Periodic expenses are many times what derail people's budgets. These are expenses that don't come up on a regular monthly basis, but instead come up once a year, twice a year, maybe 3 times a year. Periodic expenses are things like holiday spending, birthdays, tuition, things like that. What you need to do when you are figuring out your periodic expenses is list all the periodic expenses you have. And then let's say your holiday spending, holiday spending, last year you spent $300. You need to break that down into a monthly amount. So $300 divided by 12 months in a year, that means you've got to set aside $25 a month in order to meet that expense. You know, another common expenditure that we'll have is like car registration. Oops, registration. Let's say, I think that's kind of like $75 nowadays. I don't know. You got to break it down into a monthly amount. So figure out what all of your periodic expenses are and figure out how much you need to set aside each month so that when those periodic expenses come up, you're not caught off guard and you've got money for them. So let's say she's figured out all of her periodic expenses and she knows she needs to be setting aside $100 a month for those expenses. She doesn't have cable. She has no other expenses. So down here is where we see her situation for the semester. She has $8,384 coming in, and she has $12,450 going out. Say she sits down with you and says, hey, what do you recommend that I do to make this budget work? Go ahead and pause this video for a few minutes and have a discussion. What would you recommend she do? Once you finish that discussion, press play and we'll continue. Okay, so I bet most of you looked at her monthly expenses and you probably started with her rent and said, hey, $890, that's a lot to be spending in rent. Yes, it is. And you might have suggested, hey, get a roommate or find a less expensive apartment. Maybe those are possibilities, right? I mean, some of it might depend on, you know, if her lease is up soon. Maybe she's stuck with 6 months left in her lease and it's more expensive to get out of it than it is to move. Let's say she does go ahead and she gets a roommate and she's able to reduce that expense from $890 to $650. Cool. All right, you probably looked at the groceries and are like, wow, she could probably cut back a little bit on there. So yeah, you talk to her and she says, you know what, I do spend a lot when I'm at the grocery store. Maybe I can be better about looking for sales or doing some more meal planning so I don't spend so much money on unused food. So let's say she's able to really commit to that and she reduces it to $300 a month. You look at her eating out and say, hey, got to cut that back. Let's say she says, okay, fine, I love eating out, but I'll cut it back to $50 and I'll eat more at home. You know, you probably looked at some of these and there's really not much she can cut back on, right? So you helped her out. So now the difference that she's dealing with is $2,116. Cool, but she's still got that gap. So what's the next thing that you look at? Take a look at the income section and as a class, have a little bit of a discussion. What would you suggest she do here? Go ahead and pause the video and then press play when you're ready. Okay, so you might have said, hey, see if she can get more hours at work. Possibly. A lot of times that's out of our control, right? You might ask for more hours, but that doesn't mean that your employer will just give them to you. She also has to take into consideration she's a student, so she can't work 1,000,000 hours a week and continue to go to school. So let's say there's no opportunity for changing that right now. Did any of you look down here and see, hey, she hasn't applied for scholarships. Why not apply for some scholarships? As an ACC student, you have access to a number of ACC scholarships. If you haven't taken a look at the scholarship website yet, do that. You just go to the ACC homepage, and in the search bar type in scholarships, and you will get to see all the scholarships that are available for ACC students. Right now there's a scholarship due November 1st. It's the ACC Alumni Network Scholarship. Guess how many questions it has? One question. Go ahead and apply for it. Let's say she commits to applying for scholarships and she says, I'm gonna put 6 or 7 scholarship applications out there. My goal is to get $500 because that will help. Cool. We go down here. Better, but there's still a gap. This is where you can make an informed decision if you have to take out student loans. So she's looking at this gap of $1,600. If she takes out a student loan, she knows exactly how much she needs. So instead of taking out whatever is given to her, she takes out exactly what she needs. Do you know what the average student loan debt is in the United States? It's $35,000. That's a lot. The way to avoid that, one of the ways to avoid that, is that when you do take out student loans, know exactly how much you need and don't take out any more than that, and have a plan for that money. So by having this budget set up, she knows where that $1,800 is going to. You probably get what happens. A student takes out a student loan and takes what's given to them. So takes $3,000. That money burns a hole in your pocket. If you don't have a clear plan for how you're going to spend that money, it doesn't matter. You'll spend it even if you don't need it. So use this tool to figure out exactly how much you need in student loans so that you don't take out more than what you do need. So she decides to take out a student loan for $1,800, and look at that. Her budget is great now. So she's ready for the spring semester as long as she applies for those scholarships. So I would love for you to use this tool to start planning for the spring 2017 semester. Thank you so much for listening to this video. Again, I'm bummed that I'm not there with you in person. The Student Money Management Office, we are on Facebook and Twitter. So if you go to austincc.edu/money, you can get links to our Facebook and Twitter. We also have a mailing list. So monthly we send out students financial management tips and announcements of new scholarships that are out there. So go ahead if you're interested and sign up for our mailing list from our homepage. Thanks again. Have a good afternoon, guys.